How is the book structured to help me? That's what I'm talking about today. Hi, I'm Annie Franceschi, and this is Inside the Book of Permission to Try. Today I wanted to share with you a little bit about how the book is structured. I haven't talked much about this, but when I started to think that I wanted Permission to Try to be a motivational pep talk, something to take you from feeling lost and stuck and not knowing what to do, to feeling empowered to take a great action step in your life or career, I started thinking about how that book needed to be organized. So what I actually have done is I tell a lot of my stories out of order because I am telling a new order, sort of a new argument, as it were. I don't know about you, when I think about starting something new in my life or career, I can immediately come up with a great idea, and then I stop myself. And I think of all the reasons that, oh gosh, I shouldn't do this. I have all these fears that stop me. So as soon as I have that idea, I have that reason that I shouldn't do it. And that's what hit me, that the way that this book needs to work and the way that Permission to Try does work is it's 11 things you need to hear when you have 11 really key doubts about what to do next. So the book is structured like an argument, and it's supposed to make you feel like you're understood and you can get to where you need to go, so that by the time you close the book, you feel like you have permission to try. So to give you an example of how this works, one of the chapters is, maybe you have this question, which is, well, if I do something new, like, what will other people say? Well, that's a doubt, right? So what will other people say? People will surprise you, and you should let them. That's what that chapter 9, is all about, are stories that illustrate the point of you can't let what other people say stop you. And I give you some real examples from my life and career and other people's stories about why people will surprise you and why you should let them. Another question I get a lot is, well, what if I fail? And I have that same problem too. So one of the things that I'm saying to that, and in chapter 10, you're going to discover that you absolutely have permission to fail. So what if I fail? You have permission to fail. So every one of the 11 chapters in this book is a form of permission. It's going to take a doubt that you have, that you are sitting on, that's holding you back. And it's going to say, look, there are stories, there are reasons, there are real life accounts of how to do this. There are even exercises, which I'm going to be talking about in another episode of Inside the Book. So there is lots to uncover here so that you feel empowered and you can get from unstuck to knowing what you want to do next, or at least having a sense of how to try it. So all the chapters have a doubt like this, and all of the chapters are some form of permission. The entire book itself is also an argument. It is something that is going to take you sort of through 3 parts. So those 11 things are divided into part 1, part 2, and part 3. And to introduce you to the first part, that is part 1 is Rethink Your Purpose. So this book is really for people who are feeling pretty lost or stuck in their life, but especially their career. Maybe your first or even your second or third dream in what you said you wanted to do isn't working out, and you're feeling pretty lost on your purpose. So the first several chapters, the first 3 chapters of Permission to Try, are all about how to and why it's okay to rethink what you are meant to do. That's part 1. Part 2 is about putting those things into action. So part 2 is embrace change and take action. So in these 4 chapters 4 through 7, this is me saying, it is the time to do this. You need to go out and realize that the only way to change your life is to actually change it. There's nothing else we can do. Just like to lose weight, we have to do diet and exercise. There's nothing else we can do but embrace change and take action. So I'm sharing some actual real life stories about how to do that, things that I've learned along the way, things I've learned from other people. And as I've said, exercises to help you start taking big action in your life and career. And last but not least, we bring it home with part 3, which is always the toughest, but the thing that we need to do to give ourselves permission to try. And that is part 3, face your fears, feelings, and failures. So these are the big F's of it all, right? The F's of it all. Your fears are very powerful. There are these doubts, these things that keep us from giving ourselves the go-ahead, the okay to be a mess, to rethink our lives, to make big changes in our lives, to face how we really feel about things, and being honest with ourselves and others about what we really want to do. And until we face those things, we can't move forward. So that's what this is all about. Part 1, rethinking our Our Purpose, Part 2, Embracing Change and Taking Action. And of course, last but not least, facing those fears and feelings and failures. So this is meant to get you started. So if you are feeling like you are stuck and you need that motivation to move forward, maybe there's a doubt in here. Maybe one of these 11 chapters is a doubt that you've had. And maybe there's an answer in here for you, whether it's an answer from my career, whether it's an answer from somebody else's story, or whether it's just something that you learn about yourself, either by reading this book or doing some of the amazing exercises that are included here. But whatever you do, I encourage you to take another look at permission and see if you're ready to discover it. Thanks for joining me on Inside the Book, A Permission to Try.